Hello everyone, it's Elizabeth from the Smart Stitcher. In this week's tutorial I am talking to you about quirks, which are these diamond shaped pieces of leather that are used in glove making. It's often a question I get asked about what they are and where they sit, so this video is just to explain to you what they are and where they sit. Let's get into it. So the quirk itself actually sits against the palm side of the glove, and it's this sort of diamond shaped finger here that sits at the base of the fingers into the webbing. So if I was to put this glove on, you would see that this is the back of the hand and this is the fourchette shape that sort of covers at the very sort of top there. And then if I can just contort my hand around a little bit, hopefully you could just about see that diamond shaped leather, and that sort of sits right at the base of the fingers. So fourchettes help to add depth to our fingers to make sure that we can slip the leather glove on and off quite comfortably. In some of my earlier tutorials I have used a sort of quite classic shape that it's cut out and then it's paired up and stitched together with another fourchette, sort of creating that kind of sort of V shape, so that the straight edge of the fourchette, so that's this edge here, sits against the top of the fingers, and then the shaped edge sits on the palm side, reflecting the sort of that shape that we have with our fingers. These are obviously then cut and trimmed whilst we're sewing everything together. Now a fourchette with a quirk actually does do a similar function. They both have the same sort of purpose in adding depth. A fourchette with a quirk can be quite useful when you have somebody who has quite large hands, or if you've got a pattern where you have perhaps broken it up, added different panels, and you're adding a contrast colour and you wanted to sort of have that kind of different contrast as part of your pattern making. So when it comes to working things out, again, you're measuring the depth of your fingers in exactly the same way as you would for creating the sort of perhaps more simple style of fourchette. There is always going to be a little bit of trimming, but the key thing is that we have that depth to sort of get round the finger within our pattern. So our fourchette starts off looking, a double fourchette looks a little bit like this, and we've got our diamond shape, and again that sort of shape and depth of your diamond is governed by the measurements of your hands. The fourchette and the quirk are then cut out of leather, and I've just used two different colours here to sort of show you those two different pieces. I've also drawn on the line where the fourchette is actually going to be cut. So this line gets opened up all the way down to in effect what then becomes the base of the fingers, and then when it's sewn together it looks a little bit like this. So I have deliberately used two colours here just to sort of give a bit of a contrast to make it easier to see. The upper colour, which is part of that fourchette, will sit against the base of my fingers, and the actual purple of the fourchette sits against the sort of the inside of the hand. Now at the moment they're wanting to go in all kinds of different directions, but once they are in situ and stitched down they will obviously keep the shape, so the straight edge for the back of the hand, but there's also a straight edge on the underside here as well, and then they are sort of fitted into the glove, and that will look a little bit like this. So on here I've got my back of my hand, I've got the palm of my hand where my thumb is, and then I can just show you here I've done sort of contrasting red and black fourchettes as I've broken down the panel, and you can see how that then sits at the base of the finger, and it also helps to add depth. So that is a whistle-stop tour of quirks. I hope that you have found that useful, and I hope that it has answered some questions as to what these little diamonds are and how they work in our gloves. Thank you very much everyone.